You guys my Railjack build so far, and then just basically tell you guys that I only got a couple more components I'm trying to get, and I'm done. But for starters, I did opt for the Zetki shield array, and there's actually another one I'm thinking about converting to, and it's actually this one because it's got the shield recharge delay. But the reason I went with Zekti is because I wanted my shield recharge and shield recharge delay as high as possible, because the actual shield amount doesn't seem to really matter too much, because once they hit the shield is gone. So having a high shield number just didn't really make a lot of sense to me unless you're in like the 10,000 range, which I don't even know if that's possible. I'm sure it is, but you know, I'd rather have that recharge just constantly recharging. Like, I'd rather have that almost, you know what I mean. So that's the shield. Engines, I'm rocking the Zekti MKIIIs, and this is about as high as you can go with the Zekti engines. Is 40 roughly. Speed multiplier I think goes up to like 6 or something like that. But what I'm really waiting for is of course, Vidart engines, because they hit up to 60. Now 40 is manageable. It is really good, but then I have a speed avionic with a 25% increase on the Railjack, so I mean that helps out, but that's kind of all I got to work with right now. Now the Vidar reactor was kind of a luck out. Now I wish I had a little bit more avionics, but I'm happy with it. You know, very lucky drop, 86 avionics, 90 flux. Totally cool with that. Totally cool with that. Oh yeah, also with the bonus, my Railjack gets a damage increase when the shields are depleted, so that's nice. That one's nice when you get people on board as far as the bonus, but not a huge make or break situation. As far as my weapons, let me back out because I know my stats are backwards. Alright, as far as my weapons, so I got the Zekti Photor. Now I chose the Photor because I really like the Photor. You know, there's 100% accuracy. You don't have to worry about any recoil, obviously. The reason I chose Zekti for now, for my front weapon, is the damage output is high, but it overheats so fast that it just didn't make sense for the side cannons to be that way. The way I'm kind of thinking about it is I'd rather have 2 cannons with the potential of outputting 74,000 damage over time, rather than 1 cannon that could do a really high DPS but only outputting about, I think it was like 18,000 DPS or something like that. There's some, or you know, across one overheat. I did learn how to use it. You basically want to like stream, let go. You know, shoot, let go, shoot, let go, hold, let go. You don't want to constantly be holding it. This is now the reason I have these on the sides once again is because I'd rather have that DPS across 2 guns. You know, but it's a little more forgiving on like, oh, I just want to shoot it, so I'm just gonna hold the button, and then you know it's got a much lower overheat risk. And then I really kind of got attached to these. What these are is it shoots a bunch of missiles out just forward. They're not homing, but you know, it's a ton of like minor punch through type of situation. And I'm a fan of punch through, so I like that one. Plus, that's not to do anything really. What I'm really using is my avionics to do a lot of my DPS. Aside from the Zekti and the Vitar, the avionics is really what puts out a lot of my DPS. As far as this, I am rocking the R7 bulkhead. Just to give you guys a heads up, this is a fully maxed out grid. But yeah, we're rocking the max bulkhead. Definitely gonna want a lot of health, but you're gonna want a lot of health in conjunction with armor. Now, the reason why I went with health over shields is because you can affect armor with shields. If it's anything like the Warframes themselves, then you're gonna want to couple armor and shields rather than couple armor and health rather than having a bunch of shields, because you can't affect shields with anything. You know what I mean? They regenerate, yeah, you can affect the regeneration rate, but yeah, I mean, you see 506 health, like that's a lot. I'm still waiting on the R7 hull weave, but I think at this point I'd rather get winged steel, because that one gives you like 300 and some change with the R7, whereas the hull weave gives you like 250 and some change. So we'll see. I'm just trying to. I'm gonna wait for D to get back and figure out what they're doing in regards to the winged mod, to the winged avionics. Hyperflux. I am rocking Hyperflux. This is going in conjunction with Seeker Volley, because with Seeker Volley, with this much flux, usually the way I start a mission is I hit Particle Ram. That removes 50 off of this, so I have 5 shots of Seeker Volley left, but that's still 250 missiles I can shoot out into the atmosphere. And to do that, I'm gonna need Hyperflux. You know what I'm saying? I would like the R7, but you know, gotta work with what we gotta work with. Hyperstrike, definitely on your Railjack. I have so much better, and this is going back to your turrets. So real quick, I'm eventually going to replace these with the Levans, because the Levan, if you notice, the crit chance is 25%, status is 12. The Levans are 12 and then 25. I would rather take status out there over crit chance, just personal opinion. So that's what I'm going for, but that's what I got. Next up, because I have crit chance on my weapons, I'm going for Predator. This was kind of a lucky drop. It dropped on Saturn. And, you know, as you can see, it's one of the lower ones. I believe it's a 1 dot. Yeah, it's only a 1 dot. Vidar. Next up, we have our crit damage. You can't really do, this is really just for damage. You know, Predator for our crit chance, section density for our crit damage when we do eventually crit. This right here is that speed increase I was talking about. Now, the reason I started using Winged Cyclone instead of Conic Nozzle is this is exactly why. I actually just shot a couple second video, but I'll show it in here as well. So if I put on Conic Nozzle, right, that's all my avionics gone, and these I could still do something with these, right? And this is costing 13 avionics, and it's giving me 25.3. Whereas if I put on winged, where is it at? God, I can't even pick. Cyclone, boom. That's giving me 25, and I still got 7 left. Well, I can invest that 7 into something else. So I'd rather put it somewhere else, as you can see. So it's a good kind of space saver, sorry. It's a good space saver, avionics saver. And it's giving roughly the same amount as a maxed out Conic Nozzle, so that's why I'm using that. And keep in mind, this is only R4, it's not even R10. Polar Coil, this is just to prolong the front weapon. Because Zekti weapons, they overheat so ridiculously fast. They overheat just way too fast. And with this particular avionic, I'm getting, as you can see, a 66%, but what that means in my head is if I'm shooting for, let's say, 6 seconds or whatever, right? That's giving me 4 extra seconds. So I'm like, cool, I can work with that. Right, so that's the way it works out in my head. It does have to be maxed out to hit that level, so we're cool right there for now. Forward artillery, still looking for the R7, but this one really helps out a lot for cruise ships. And there's actually I don't want to say a meta, but you can one-shot cruise ships if you have, and I'm talking about in the Veil, if you have this on with a at least 200% Rhino. If you have a 200% power strength Rhino and this avionic on, as you can see, it's not even R10. What you do is you hit roar, and then you hop into your forward artillery and you shoot one of those ships. It's a guaranteed one shot. It is a guaranteed one shot, because without the roar, it takes 2 shots guaranteed. Well, what does roar do? Roar with a 200% power strength doubles your damage. It takes your damage and multiplies that times 100%, which is whatever your damage is, and then it adds those 2 numbers together, doubling your damage. So you get 2 shots for the price of 1 with Rhino. But I'm using that because I don't want to have to use Rhino all the time, but if I have to, I will if I'm engineering. If I'm not engineering, then, you know, hopefully I got a Rhino engineer when we're in the Veil. If not, it's not a big deal, but gotta have that on either way. Void Cloak. This is just, I use this way more than I thought I would. Void Cloak dropped in the Veil. I believe it comes from Elite Cutters in the Veil. But with this guy, you effectively turn your ship into Loki, right? You're not, oh man, I'm getting hit and blah 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 blah. Hit your invisibility. Well, that's what this is. And then you can move. You obviously move a lot slower, but the fact that it lasts 53 seconds, you know, I just round up to a minute. Okay, I got a minute to get done whatever I need to get done, or even I got a minute to knock down as many ships as possible while this person pilots the ship away or something like that. You know, it's just a really good avionic to have. Doesn't really make a huge difference if you're soloing, especially if there's outriders out there, because the bombs and your hitbox is so huge, and it really doesn't matter. Because I think they stopped throwing bombs, but by the time you hit it, there's like 7 bombs out anyway, and they're tracking to you anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Battleforge. Now, this is an odd one if you look. Now, here's what it used to say. So I haven't actually tested this yet, but if you look, it says, okay, the forge cooldown is reduced by 80 seconds, right? Now, this comes in handy when it comes in handy particularly when you're trying to use your forward artillery on the cruise ships, right? And you knock off 2 dome shots, and another one comes, and you're like, oh man, you knock off 2 more dome shots, and then another one comes, and you're like, I'm out of dome shots. So you got to go make dome shots, but there's like 4 in the oven, or just a situation comes up where you got 4 cooking, and you've shot the 4 that are already cooking, so now you got to wait for it to refresh, and it's like, God, I need to make some more real quick. Well, that's where that comes in. Odd enough, when I threw on a maxed out one on a 3-dot slot, boop, the number went to one of those odd numbers that apparently don't exist in the game. Apparently these numbers don't display like this in the game. Obviously they do display like this in the game. So I have no idea what that means, but it's something plus 38 seconds. So we're gonna see what that looks like later on. Breach Quanta, I have not used this yet. I had one opportunity to use it, and I didn't have it equipped at the time, but that was when I was engineering, and I was purposely taking L's so I can repair stuff for bonus avionics. But it's there just in case, really, at this point. You know, if I'm soloing or something, and I'm just testing something, or I'm out there scanning for the codex, and my ship is just getting eradicated for whatever reason, because I didn't park it right or whatever, then I know I got this, you know, under my belt. And 300 seconds is okay, because that's 5 minutes. You know, 5 minutes, okay, well, it gives me 1 minute, so I got 4 minutes to, you know, fix whatever I fix before I get another recast, effectively. So yeah, I mean, at that point, you know, I feel like my Railjack really holds its own. You know, I got enough flux energy to do what I got to do, because my health and armor are so high. I don't burn through that like ever. Because my turrets hit relatively reliably, and I have Seeker Volley maxed and all that. This surprisingly like never gets used. It gets used maybe once or twice, maybe, and that's with 3 dudes in the ship at a time. And then I'm out there, I kid you not, if you go and watch some of these Railjack missions that I do, it'd be maybe me and 2 other people, and then sometimes it'll be all 3 dudes in the ship, and that rarely gets used. That'll get burned through pretty quickly, but that definitely gets used by me on Saturn, because I can 1 to 2 shot the ships out there. So yeah, this is my Railjack setup, and I would go through the Warframe, but we're not going to go through that. If you do want to know how to buff your Railjack itself, the only ones I do know affected is Wisp's her first ability, but her speed affects the Railjack very minorly, but it still affects it. And then Rhino's Roar, I know for sure affects it. I want to say Oberon's Smite and Fusion does, but I kind of don't at the same time, because it might have been just a placebo effect. So for now, I'm going to say no, but if anybody wants to try it, go ahead and try it. The stat does carry over into Arcwing, so once again, it's just a shot. Rhino's does not, by the way. Anyway, that is pretty much it as far as the Railjack. Oh yeah, I am rocking that skin, as you can see. If you don't know what it's called, because I don't know what it's called, Sungam Railjack. I think it just looks nice, kind of reminds me of a Lamborghini or something like that. The name is supposed to be DWP, but I mean, we all know. You put it on and it goes away. You put it on and it goes whatever. So anyway, boom. There's the Railjack. Once I get the remaining parts that I need, I'll upload another video and show you guys what it do. And then we'll take it out and perform and see what it looks like. All right, you guys. Thanks for checking this out. You guys take it easy. DWP out. Peace.